Hi book huggers, this is Jen, and I lost my mind buying books this month. Welcome to my madhouse. With all the amazing books that I've been hearing about on BookTube, all the pretty books I've seen on Bookstagram, and the discovery of how easy it is to get books with UK covers from Book Depository and Amazon UK, I have had quite the month, and my pocketbook is much lighter this month. I really do have to tone it way down. But with that all out of the way, those pesky disclaimers, let's look at the goods, because that's really why we're here, right? Right. For starters, I mentioned in my wrap-up video for August that I read a book called Anna of California, and that it was a retelling of the Anne of Green Gables story, and that I had ordered a very pretty copy of Anne of Green Gables. But I didn't just order Anne of Green Gables, because you can't really. It's a set. It's a series. So I ordered the whole set. It was a box set, but I got rid of the box, because who needs a box on their shelves? So it includes, of course, Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, and Anne's House of Dreams. I think that's the order it goes in. I'm not sure I ever read Anne of the Island or Anne's House of Dreams, but I know I read the first two when I was much younger, and I look forward to reading them again. I love these covers so much because they are paper cuts. And all the other covers I've seen, especially on the paperbacks, are the ones that were from like 30 years ago, and these are just so nice and beautiful, and I'm so excited to have them. I first started seeing these next books on Bookstagram, I believe, and just fell in love with the covers. And then I started looking into it and realizing that there are so many and they're all so beautiful. But it's the Penguin English Library Paperbacks collection, and I ordered a bunch. I know. And now that I have them in my hands, I want all of them. So, you know, you'll probably be seeing these for a while. But I got The Man Who Was Thursday, which I have never read and possibly had never heard of. I will say that I picked these classics that I got because I liked the particular covers. We talked about this in the last video, I know. But I got The Man Who Was Thursday, which was apparently one of the first sort of spy novels out there. It's by G.K. Chesterton, and so cute, right? One of the things I wanted to say about these books, though, some of them that came have a very paper feel cover, like almost a linen paper feel cover, which is amazing and I love it. And some of them, like this one, had sort of a rubbery cover. It's kind of a rubbery paperized cover. And the ones that are rubbery have the author's pictures in the front, and the other ones don't. So I don't know if this was like an earlier version of the series and the other ones are more recent. I don't know the story behind that, but that's how it turned out. So there was The Man Who Was Thursday. I got The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I've never read that. Beautiful cover. I got Northanger Abbey. It has keys on it. It's so cute. I also got Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, and this one I didn't so much get for the cover. I got it because I've wanted to read it for a long time, and now I can. I also got The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I got Persuasion because feathers. And I got Emma because you may not know this about me, but I love chairs. It's true, if I had a bigger house, I would probably have a house full of chairs, but instead I have beautiful editions of Jane Austen books that I read long ago. I really wanted this next book because I'd heard Jen from Jen V. Campbell talking about it multiple times, I think, and Jean from Bookish Thoughts, and Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings, all talking about this book. And how much they loved it and how great it was, and so I had to get it. But it's A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. It's a short story collection, but they're all sort of tied together with this overarching story about a couple of women who are partners, and one of them is about to have a baby, and they live in this tiny house in Scotland, and they're telling their unborn baby stories, and that's kind of all I know about it. I did read the first one. It was kind of amazing, and I can't wait to read the rest. But while I was on Amazon UK buying this book, because it's not available in the US yet, I may have picked up the rest of Kirsty Logan's books because everyone speaks so highly of her. So I also got her collection of short stories called The Rental Heart. I've already read the first one called The Rental Heart. It's amazing. I can't wait to read the rest of it. And her novel called The Grace Keepers. So I don't really know much about this one. I just know that it sounded really good. And since I was getting the rest of her collection, I might as well have this one. That's Gen Logic for you. And while I was on Amazon UK buying the complete works of Kirsty Logan, I looked at the bottom where it says, buy this one plus this one plus this one for a cheaper price. And it just so happened to be two other books that I had been wanting for a while. So they made it into the cart as well. One of them is Among Others by Jo Walton. And this one made my wish list because Kirsten White and Rainbow Rowell were talking about this on Twitter, like it was one of their favorite books. It's kind of an urban fantasy novel as far as I can tell, and it has magic in it, and it's written kind of like a journal or a diary, which always gets me, always. So this made it into the cart and I'm super excited to read that. And the other one is, of course, Uprooted, which is on everything these days. I've heard about it from everyone. And Hannah at A Clockwork Reader had this cover, which I hadn't seen before, because I hate the US cover so much. I love this one, and so I put that one in my cart, too. I've also been to some independent bookstores this month. Well, let's be real. I'm at my local independent bookstore once or twice a week. It's a problem. It's a good problem though, right? Say yes. And I picked up The Rook by Daniel O'Malley, which has been on my list for a long time, and I could not pass it up anymore. It looks like it's kind of a spy-ish novel that has to do with magic in the real world, and only this certain agency knows that magic is in the real world. If you are not picking up on this yet, that's kind of my jam. I enjoy that quite a lot. So I'm excited about this. Plus I had a teenager in our citywide book club tell me that this was the book that he'd read over and over and over and over. And so now I really want to read it. Also, my local bookstore had this on display the other day. I've never read The Bell Jar, which I feel terrible about, by Sylvia Plath. And this is the 50th anniversary edition, and I just thought it was really beautiful, and so I picked that up as well. And then this past weekend, my husband and I went on a little trip to a town near ours, and they have an independent bookstore as well. So there I picked up The Unbinding by Walter Kern, and it was actually signed, which is kind of exciting. Walter Kern wrote Up in the Air and several other books. This one looked like it was a really short read, which I like. And it's about this person who works at sort of an agency that sort of knows everything about you and can help you out with whatever problems you have or information you need. It sounds very interesting, like a combination of Big Brother and like a virtual assistant or a virtual concierge. So I'm very interested in this. And then I picked up The Transcriptionist by Amy Rowland, which is about a woman who works as a transcriptionist. She's actually the last transcriptionist working for a major newspaper in a large city. And used to, there would be rooms full of transcriptionists, and all they did was transcribe notes taken by reporters. And she's the last one, and she comes upon this story that she can't get out of her head. And then apparently some sort of mystery happens. So it sounded really interesting, and I bought it. And the last book I bought this weekend was What We See When We Read by Peter Mendelsohn. It looks like it's really interesting, but it's all about how we see things in our head when we read. Like, how do those pictures form in our head when we read books? Apparently Peter Mendelsohn is a book designer and a cover designer, and I think it just sounds really fascinating. I subscribed this past month to Owl Crate and Landfall Freight Company, two subscription services that I'll link to in the bookshelves below. Owl Crate deals mostly with young adult fiction, and it sends you like a book and a bunch of stuff to go with it on a theme. And Landfall Freight Company is all about graphic novels featuring women, which I think is amazing. So I signed up for 3-month subscriptions for both of those and got my first boxes this month, and I will tell you that on this channel you will likely never see an unboxing because I don't have the patience for that. If a box comes through my door, it is opened. Like, immediately. I have to open the boxes, and I don't have time to set up a camera and all of that. So you will likely never see an unboxing here, but let's just say they were pretty awesome. I'm not going to show you all the stuff that I got in the boxes, but I'm going to show you the books that I hauled from them. So the first one was from Owl Crate. This month's theme was Leading Ladies, and I received Dumplin' by Julie Murphy, and I've already read it and will probably review it soon or talk about it in my wrap-up. So you'll hear more about it then, but it's pretty awesome. It was probably the best subscription box I've received so far. But that's not to say that my haul from Landfall Freight was any less awesome. I was really excited because I haven't read any of the stuff that I got in that box, which is pretty great. The graphic novel that they sent in the Landfall Freight box was Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash, a graphic memoir, and it's all about a girl at camp who falls in love with one of the counselors there. I'm really excited to read this one. I had seen it around, but I hadn't read it yet, so it's super exciting. And then I got 2 comic books. One is called Plutona by Jeff Lemire, Emmy Lennox, and Jordi Belair. The whole Landfall Freight box this month was about camp and sort of hanging on to summer. So this one is about a girl at camp as well. And one of my favorites, I love Lumberjanes like nobody's business, but this is issue number 18 of Lumberjanes. And if you haven't read Lumberjanes, please do. It's amazing. Go right now. But I was super excited to get this. So that is it, finally. Thank you for hanging around so long. But I'm really excited about the books I got. I know I'm making a lot of noise about, oh my god, I bought so many books, but really, I bought so many books. But I got so many books that I'm super excited to read, or copies of books that I love that I didn't have before. Let me know in the comments what you guys hauled this month, or what you would start with in this giant pile of books. Like, what would you read next? Thanks for watching my epic video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! And Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish. I can't say bookish.